Silent Hands is a group exhibition curated by myself and my collaborators Zaina Sa'i and Jean Wong. And so it features artworks that explore the theme of work, the spaces in which we work, how we work, where we work, and how our notions of work are expanding. The artists in the show come from the Middle East, from Asia and their diasporas, and they explore notions of work in these locations as well. We're looking at the idea of labor and work both in the urban sphere, in the digital sphere, and in the domestic sphere. So we're really thinking of an expansive idea of what encompasses work, which is something I think we can all relate to.
So Silent Hands uses the poetic device of synesthesia to blend the senses of the physical and also the auditory. We reference the forms of work that are typically overlooked or undervalued in our contemporary society. And using this poetic device, we reflect the nature of the works that we've chosen for this exhibition, which also have a quite poetic form and are very sensory in nature as well.
I think when you come and see the work, you can see the attention that is given to people in their communities, or even people whose lives are very different from theirs and ours. But what's important in the work is that you can sense that everyone that's being represented, communities that are being represented, are seen. And I think that's something that's been very important to us, is to tell an honest story.
The mediums are, I would say, a contrast to the way that we describe the title, because they're quite loud and vibrant compared to the quite poetic and succinct title of the exhibition. They're quite sensory in nature, and whether it be audiovisual forms or craft through textiles, they have this materiality that integrates the nature of that work within the display of the artwork. Whether we're looking at Hamad Kadhim's work, for example, where he's done paintings of laborers in Dubai based on photographs that he's taken around the city. So, really people who we actively see doing work out in the urban landscape. But then there are also artists like Mahan Malouh, who are thinking about our relationships to, hospitality, the objects that are used within the home, and used, to serve and make food. And it's really a part of the labor and care that goes into the domestic sphere.
Hairullah Rahim and I are both from Singapore, and something that's very special about his work is that he is capturing a place in Singapore that's very close to him. It's his neighborhood, it's where he lives, it's where he works as an artist. And what I have loved about working with Hairullah is the sensitivity and the honesty in which he portrays living in a working class neighborhood in Singapore, which is something that we don't get to see very often in Singapore just because of how the city is constructed.
The work that I connect with the most is by Hangama Amiri, Bahar Beauty Salon. And it has, I think, growing up in the Khalij, a connection to the environment that we see in the beauty salons here in a very direct and relatable way, in the way that these spaces have a sense of community and camaraderie between women who come to get their treatments done and connect with the beauty technicians. So such businesses give these women a sense of ownership and mobility in a way that maybe is unprecedented by previous generations before her time.
Similarly, if we're thinking about what opportunity work offers and how women occupy space, there is the work of Anhar Sadan. She was an artist born and raised in Jeddah and who comes from Indonesian Yemeni background, Hadrami. And she is looking at, in her video work, mashallah, why did you cross the Indian Ocean? The experience of women like her mother and like others within her community who migrated to Jeddah and are thinking about their culture and their homes as not only places of community, but also places of commerce. So in the video, she and one of her friends kind of interview their mothers and these women and take snapshots of their homes and the things that they eat and the things that they sell. So they also sell things out of their home. And so there's this sense of like being able to provide for one's community, whether it's specific types of food, whether they're selling specific recipes, or whether they're even selling, different types of clothes, batik fabrics. That then, it creates a space for independence and community building.
The video is based on Artsy's research of the Amazon Mechanical Turk network, which requires human verification in order to continue to maintain its automation processes. What Artsy is really looking at is the way in which these forms of labor are becoming more and more invisible in the world we live in today, because we are so accustomed to the seamlessness of these networks that we fail to recognize the work that goes into the back end of it. At the same time, there are all these new forms of labor associated with such digital platforms and infrastructures that are becoming more and more prominent in the contemporary societies that we live in, that it's almost eliminating physical labor of the same sort, and how, in a way, these new forms of labor are taking away some of the jobs and requirements of these jobs in our world today, but at the same time, they're creating new jobs that we've never seen before that are quite unprecedented.
I really think that visitors will be able to engage in various registers with the works in this exhibition and with the theme of the exhibition as a whole. Obviously, the artists and the artworks presented are exploring various, geographical regions through different medium, whether it's video, installation, painting, sculpture. There's various entry points into this, universal theme of work.